The judiciary, which is often regarded as the third eye of government, has so much in common with democracy. It is also regarded as the watchdog of democracy, whose major aim is to interpret law made by the legislature and constitution, punish lawbreakers, and settle disputes between citizens and government. It will be impracticable to think of democracy without a judiciary, since the democratic development depends on an independent and fair judiciary, and also the task of a developed democrat rests upon the judiciary. Some of the opinion that the system is lagging behind, is shaky and is unstable, and that Nigeria is far from being in a viable democratic system and also practice true democracy. And also that the power of the judiciary has been infringed upon, making it hard for the judiciary to be able to act and function well. Well, I'll ask, is this right? I am Dayo Oluju, and welcome to the State of the Nation on Aspheric TV. This is where we discuss, analyze, and tackle critical national issues. Well, the role of the judiciary is very vital in the system of government called democracy. Our guest today is a legal practitioner, a social critic, is a political activist, is a commentator on national issues, and is a community leader, and is also popularly referred to as the second senior advocate of the masses after late Chief GANI FAWEHINMI. Well, he won 2 landmark cases against the federal government and National Assembly recently, and one of the 2 is the jumbo pay of the national legislators, and also the other one is on the irrational ultimatum on the threat to deactivate SIM cards from network providers of Nigerians who are yet to obtain national identification numbers. My guest is no other person than Barrister Monday Onyekachi Ubani. Well, right now we'll go on a quick break, and when we come back, we'll dig into what we have for today. Barrister Monday Onyekachi Ubani, popularly known as MOU, is the principal partner of the law firm of Ubani Co. Presently, he has over 15 lawyers in his employment. He is a company secretary to many corporate bodies and a solicitor to high-net-worth individuals in Nigeria. He is a social critic, political activist, community leader, and commentator on national issues. He has written several articles in various newspapers. He is popularly referred to as the second senior advocate of the masses after late Chief GANI FAWEHINMI. Barrister Ubani is a known philanthropist with the foundation known as Onyekachi Ubani's Foundation. Through that foundation, he has impacted many lives in Nigeria and beyond. He has received several awards over his continuous contributions to the society. He won 2 landmark cases against the federal government and National Assembly recently. Watch Barrister Monday Onyekachi Ubani live on Aspheric TV YouTube as he speaks on the role of the judiciary in Nigeria democracy. Date 10 August 2021. Time 4 p.m. To call in or send SMS for questions or contributions, you can get through via this number 08099998117. Welcome back, viewers. In the course of the interview, you can call in or send SMS for your questions or contributions via this number 00999981117. Right about now, we'll be linking up with our guest, Barrister Monday Onyekachi Ubani. Hello, sir. Thank you for linking up with us on the state of the nation today. Hello, Barrister.
Thank you. Thank you. It's my pleasure. It's my pleasure to be here.
How are you doing this evening, sir?
I am good. I am good. Thank you very much. And how are you too?
Fine, thank you. Well, kudos on your recent wins, sir. Winning those two cases, I am sure, didn't come on a platter of gold. Except I'm wrong. How was the experience like facing the federal government and National Assembly and winning the case? How was the experience like?
Yeah, it can only be by the grace of the Almighty, and then by dint of hard work, and then of course being focused. When you file cases against the federal government, naturally you want to join the Attorney General of the Federation, who is the chief law, and on many occasions they will come with object that you have no locus standi in order to institute the case. And so it happened in these cases you have just mentioned. They came with issue that I have no locus. But there has been a decided case by the Supreme Court of Nigeria saying that every Nigerian now who is a taxpayer has every constitutional right to challenge any wrong, any legal wrong that has been committed by any of the agencies of the government. And so those of locals has actually been taken care of now by the Supreme Court decision. So it wasn't on a platter of gold. It was after a serious fight because they put up a challenge, challenging me in all the cases that are filed against them. But at the end of the day, we rely on the judiciary being the last hope of the common man. Look at the issues that I canvassed, they look at the points that I have raised, and they look at the genuine, and look at the legality, and look at the fight that we need to get a country that is functional and working for the interests of the people. And then they gave judgment, and that judgment was given in the favor of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. I will not say that it was given in my favor. It's actually given in the favor of the masses of the country. Moduka is that we must have a government that actually must comply with the constitution, which they swore to uphold when they were sworn in. And so it wasn't easy, but at the end of the day, as I said earlier, God saw us through and gave us. There are still many more cases that have been that are filed that are going to be heard in the future concerning some of the violations of the law by the federal government or its agencies.
Okay, so sir, has it been implemented yet?
Well, like those two cases that I won, like the one of the deactivation of our SIM card.
Yes.
I wrote after the judgment was delivered to the Attorney General to ensure that there is a due compliance, because remember that they gave us April. After the initial December, they gave April as the deadline. But I wrote that deadline will not be met. That's a situation where the government can give Nigerians enough time within which to obtain their need. And if you have found out, since that particular just given, the federal government has been extending the time for Nigerians to go and register to obtain their national identification number. And now the last one they made announcement, I think October is now the timeline they have given. But the letter I wrote and said they should give Nigerians at least 1 year and the maximum 2 years within which we can get our identification registered with the federal government. So that's the way to go. So they can punish anyone any longer, because that judgment made them to know that it was a violation of any person's right for you to say you deactivate somebody's SIM card. Meanwhile, when the person registered a SIM card, there was no knowledge whatsoever that he has to obtain a NIN, and failure to obtain a NIN will lead to deactivation. That was the point of my canvass case. And so I believe that Nigerians will be given enough time, even after the deadline of October, within which they can obtain the NIN in order to make sure that we work as a country that have identification of Nigerians. It's a very good idea to have identification of everyone, because for national we need to know how many we are. We need to have many that are populated here. So that particular program is something that I welcome. But I didn't like the idea of stampeding Nigerians and then people's right by asking everyone to line up to queue up and then break the protocols of COVID, all in a bid to obtain the NIN identification number stuff.
Okay, sir. Well, some are of the view that Nigeria is still years away from viable democracy as well as true democracy. And also, the power of the judiciary has been infringed upon, which has made them unable to act or function well. Well, of course, we have some judicial records of altruism. Well, as a legal practitioner, I want you to say something about this. Will you say we practice true democracy in Nigeria?
Well, the position of things is that what we are practicing is not, the proper democracy. We are just return to civil rule. There are many things that makes up the issue of practice of true democracy, one of which is the independence of the judiciary. The judiciary must be clearly independent and must anyway be toyed with and must not be dictated to. The moment you have undue interference by other arms of government against the third arm, which is the judiciary, then you can never in any way be said to be practicing true democracy. The moment you have a situation where there is no observance of the rule of law, where the judgment of the court is also being toyed with and not obeyed, then you cannot be practicing democracy, because democracy means that the law, the rule of law is above everyone. Even the president himself cannot toy with the rule of law. Whoever, no matter how powerful, cannot toy with the rule of law. There is supreme law. But the moment you don't have supremacy of the law in a country, but individuals that are so powerful that they can dictate what happened contrary to law, then you cannot be said to be practicing true democracy. But we have made some level of progress in terms of the civil rule from 1999 till date, in having change of government, of electing, well, even though you may contest it, whether it's not election or we have had some level of leaders who are not military dictators who have occupied our position as president and governors. At least in that wise, it is civil rule. But we need to go extent, of making sure that the true observance of the rule of law is clearly implemented. One of which is the, issue of obedience to the court decision, not violating the constitution of the land, not ensuring that there is supreme law, ensuring that there is respect to the rights of individuals, what we call fundamental human rights, and obedience to it, and making sure that people's rights are not trampled upon. Ensuring that most of the policies of government must be tailored towards the whims and caprices of the people, because governance is about the people. The issue of security and welfare is critical in real democracy. So by the time we begin to make amends to some of our practices and begin to obey the rule of law and begin to uphold the supremacy of the law, then I can go home and sleep and say we are practicing true democracy. For now, I can only say we are practicing civilian democracy, civilian administration, whereby we have been able to change from one leader to another, democratic in quotes, but not through any military or military overthrow or overthrow of any government that has been elected. That's why it's the civil rule we are practicing, but we need to go further in order to deepen our democratic tendencies, tenets, which is what I've just mentioned, issue of allowing the court independence in order to do what they have been allowed to do by the Constitution. So critical issues, which I think in the course of this discussion, we can go deeper, in knowledge and understanding by my own explanation.
Okay. Well, as the existing framework made up of the Nigerian Constitution and the Electoral Act so far empowered the judiciary in order to sustain the momentum and deepen democracy in Nigeria.
Yes, I agree with you. The Constitution has actually outlaid the function of the judicial system. The Electoral Act you also mentioned has given judiciary some level of powers. Of course, what happened in some of the states where if the people election is challenged and they go to the court that have actually allowed some certain and to emerge. The governor of the state more or less was made by the court There were some other instances before now where the court have declared some governors, even though they have, done what done in way of election. And when those elections is challenged, the court now will look at it and say, no, this election was not done properly, that this should be the person that should be the governor. So to that extent, the judiciary has been allowed to exercise some of the power that are given to it. But you cannot have a judiciary that is powerful, a judiciary that is clearly if there is no independence. And that's why recently there was this issue of Jusun going on strike, insisting that our judicial system is nationally autonomous. Because for it to be independent, issue of finances of the judiciary, how it is being shared, how it is being managed, is very critical. So we must begin to ensure that judiciary enjoys independence. And one of the ways is independence of managing their funds. We also must go further to insist on the operational independence. In other words, when they give judgment, they must be able to enforce it. They don't need to look towards the Nigerian police or towards judgment. The judiciary must be given coercive power to enforce they have given. And so we still require some further amendment by way of our laws to ensure that judiciary enjoys 100% independence, just like every other arm of government is only enjoying.
Oh, okay, thank you so much for that, sir. There is an attempt at the National Assembly to reform the Electoral Act by making electronic transfer of results and voting, which was rejected by the ruling party. Recall that in the 8th Senate, there was also an Electoral Act which the president refused to assent to the bill. What is your view regarding this in view of an attempt to deepen and entrench democracy in Nigeria?
Legend question. We cannot get it right as a nation if we can't get our system very the issue of getting leadership has been an issue for us. We have not been very fortunate to have the kind of leadership it deserves. We have a lot of resources, but we have not been able to get the kind of leadership that can now match those resources and get the best for the citizens of the country. But getting our system right is very important aspect of this journey for us as a nation. You have rightly mentioned in the 8th Assembly there was an amendment of the electoral bill, which was sent to the president. The president refused to assent to it, given reason it was so close to election. And so we have not been able to amend that until now. There is a process that is ongoing. And part of the innovation electoral bill is the issue of electronic voting and electronic results, which is very critical, which the world have actually had, and they have discovered the fairness of them for their countries. And so everyone now is going technology. And we're saying we must deploy technology if we must get our electoral system right. Now, it to read that the INEC may transmit results electronically where practicable. What that means is that at any time there is election, INEC has the discretion of transmitting that result electronically, provided there is enough network in the area. If there is not enough network, they can use manual in order to probably do the collection and transmission of results. We know also that problems with the issue of human interference in the electoral process. So that was a good amendment, only for that amendment to get to the Senate. And the Senate now came up with another amendment that can only be possible. The issue of electoral results can only be possible where it is advised, by this particular agent in charge of regulating our telephone system and our network. And then there must be an approval by the National Assembly. As first can say, no, we cannot allow that. It is a wrong procedure. You can subject INEC power supervise and undertake result to any other body. The moment you do that, you are breaching the Constitution. Yeah, you have a right to make law, assembly, but you must not in any way violate the Constitution itself that have given you power to make law. So that particular law that they want to make by subjecting INEC to two authorities before they can transmit result, all in the conduct of power that the Constitution has given to them, we felt is clearly wrong. is illegal, it's unconstitutional. I believe that before when they resume, that the National Assembly will be able to really toe the line of sanity by ensuring that the former amendment that says wherever and whenever applicable and practicable, INEC has the right to transmit results. Let them not subject INEC to any authority. Well, while in the conduct of the election, they are supposed to be clearly under no authority whatsoever under the law. They are supposed to be independent, and that is their name, Independent Electoral Commission. So it's important that the Assembly will be able to correct themselves. So my take is that all of us are electronic voting system. All of us are yearning for electronic transmission of results. We want a situation where we begin to engage technology and then reduce the level of human interference in our electoral system. So that I can assure you that we begin to have fairness in our electoral system, and the kind of leadership that will emerge will be that actually have the mandate of the people. But the moment elections are left in the hands of people to manipulate and rig and do all things in order to entrench fraud electoral system, we may never get the kind of leaders that will be able to get Nigeria to our end. So we must begin to deploy technology, and whatever we can do to do that, I would rather encourage it rather than allowing human interference, which has not actually helped us in our electoral journey.
Okay, thank you so much, sir, for that. Right now, we're going on a quick break, and stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Welcome to easeauction.com. EaseAuction is an e-auction platform where you can buy auctionable products for insanely low prices. Fancy an iPhone X, laptop, PS5, smart TV, kitchen gadgets, or landed properties, vehicles, and much more. Purchase products from Apple, Benetton, Samsung, HP, Sony, Infinix, amongst others at unbelievably low prices. All products are with the manufacturer's guarantee. Each product has a specific time for bidding, and the last bidder wins. Log on to easeauction.com to register and start bidding and winning. For inquiries, call us 081 55 55 5746 or 090 97 77 7725. Send us an email, support@easeauction.com.
We always look for some sort of motivation that highlights our imperfection. But does that perfection feed your soul? Does that perfection make you feel fulfilled? Or does another person thought of you somehow magnify your self-worth? Your decisions may be the worst part of you, but at least that is you, taking a stance. And when one decision does not work, you calculate again and seek another gleaming decision. They might fail, but it's still considered progress. You might be broken, but at least you get out of bed every day, hoping you get it right and don't make that sad, obvious mistake you made yesterday. That mistake might be your right, but why not spice the mistake up again today? Let's make this mistake look attractive together.
Welcome back. Still with us is Barrister Monday Onyekachi Ubani, and we're talking about the role of the judiciary in Nigerian democracy. Sir. Hello, sir.
Yeah, I'm listening to you.
Barrister?
I'm listening to you.
Okay,
I'm listening to you.
about yes, regarding the question I want to ask. I know you've spoken about it before, but I would like you to expatiate more, and here it is. In this present dispensation in Nigeria, the executive have been accused of disregarding some court orders. Reason has been said to be because judicial appointments come from the executives and must be sanctioned by the legislature, and of course, in one way, make the judiciary sentimental in judgments, as well as embolden public office holders to flout court orders. If I may ask, sir, I really need you to expatiate more on this. Why is this so?
I don't think that the problem of judicial subservience stem from the fact that they have been appointed by the executive and confirmed by the National Assembly. No, it is about the people they actually employ, the recruitment process. Most times, most of the people they recruit in judicial sector are not those that want to be judges. Most time it is actually the relations of governors, or the children of governors, the judges, the Ezes, the Obas, and then the Emirs. You know, very high political profile individuals, you know, usually nominate their relations, not have desire to be a judge. To put somebody that has desire does not have any interest to be a judge, of course, that the kind of things we are getting today from the judicial system that is not actually working to the level all of us desire. We want a courageous, judiciary. We want judiciary. We want a judiciary that's not subservient, that does not in any way engage in any corruption. And of course, when your hands are very clean, you go out and give both judgment, irrespective of whose horse is God. So I think that we should look at the recruitment process and ensure that the best hands are the ones that are taken to judiciary. We remember in the 80s, in the 70s, and even in the 60s, most of them taken to judiciary were very bold lawyers from the bench, from the bar. Most lawyers were to be at the bench because they have seen them practice law at the bar, and they have seen their level of competence, they have seen their level of boldness, they have seen their level of in-depth of knowledge of law, and they take them to the bench. But nowadays, the things we are getting are those who are not knowledgeable enough, they don't have any courage, and most of them are their hands are not clean. And as long as you're not clean, as a judge, way you will be bold enough to give judgment against the executive, because they can rope you in, especially when they have evidence against you that you are not, very honest. You are not, in your dealings. So I think we should look again at the recruitment process of our judges. We must also ensure the issue of operational independence and financial independence. Ensure that those things are enthroned. And we must also get the best hands. Judges are supposed to be well educated. Judges are supposed to be very enough. They are supposed to be full of integrity. They are supposed to be like above board. You don't just bring any person to be a judge. He must have integrity. He must have character. He must have courage. He must have knowledge. He must have intelligence. He must have competence. The moment these things are lacking, that is the kind of things we will be getting, in the judicial sector, and then we can't get the best. So I think that with the recruitment process we have to look at, we must also ensure that they have independence in order for them to give out their best, to the society. With that, without any interference, they will be able to and make sure that they're not interfered by arms of government.
Well, I must say you're popularly referred to as the second senior advocate of the masses after late Chief GANI FAWEHINMI because of your courageous mind. Am I wrong, all right?
It's my pleasure. It's my pleasure. The public will judge.
Yeah, well, yesterday, the Court of Law, Yaba Magistrate Court, to be precise, remanded Chidinma Ojukwu, prime suspect in the murder of the CEO of Super TV, Usifo Atagi, for 30 days. The suspect had earlier pleaded for forgiveness, and she was not ready to die, and attributing her action to influence of hard drugs and smoking. But things took a dramatic turn recently. That's July 13, 2021, when Chidinma recanted. She said that she didn't kill him. She claimed her earlier admission of stabbing Ataga to death was as a result of fear that people would not believe her. Doesn't this look shady, bendy, and confusing? What's your take on this?
Time to speak on this several times on issue of investigation of crime in Nigeria. Most people in Nigeria who are criminals escape justice because of the shoddiness in investigation. Our security agencies are not, they lack what you call sophistication in investigation. and they get investigation right, there is no way you can conviction, because without the elements of crime being proved, and of course, you know that in criminal jurisprudence, it is proved beyond reasonable doubt. The moment you are not able to prove beyond reasonable doubt before a judge, that particular accused person will be given the benefit of doubt, and then he will be actually discharged and acquitted. So the thorough investigation is key. We have not been able to employ ideology in our investigation process, and that again is giving a lot of concern. We don't deploy technology. We use unorthodox method. We can just use and sometimes most of these things we use to extract what you call confessional statement by beating, by hitting, and by making people to confess under very serious beating and all that, which is not the way it's supposed to be. But we see it in other countries carry out their investigation. Before the white was a criminal, they would have done almost 90% of their investigation, and they are too sure by the time they go in and arrest that individual, the next thing that they will charge, and of course they will get that individual to be convicted because they have almost information and all the evidence. But here, the security agency will arrest you and they start looking for evidence, and at the end of the day, they boggle the case. Is boggled. There's nothing you can do about it. Now, Chidima's matter is a matter that I think they will be very, very professional in hand and getting to the root of the who killed that man. Was it Chidinma that did it, or he did it in concert with people? If he did it in concert of people, who are those people and all that? And I believe that now that they have charged her to court, they have gotten all that now tidied up, unless they have actually compromised this investigation, during which Chidinma may likely go scot-free, and even those that killed may also, justice. That's in that way, we are not helping the administration of criminal justice. So my take is that we need to really sit down as a nation, look at the investigation process once again by Nigerian security authorities, either DSS or the Nigerian or any of the agencies that are engaged in investigation of crime. We need to do training. We need to do retraining. We need to make them to know what's supposed to do, and they must be deeper in what they do. And if we don't do it that way, they will be in problem. So I just hope that Chidinma will face justice. If she's guilty, let the law take its course. But if she's innocent, let she escape justice. But if she's not very found to be liable, there is no way they should allow her to go scot-free, irrespective of whatever she's now saying, or that she was under drugs or she was under anything. I don't think I can actually avail her in a court of law. The most important thing, let it be that police has done proper investigation in this matter.
Well, still on Chidinma's case, by law, it is unconstitutional to grant interviews to the media while in police detention or going through a trial in court. It is also unconstitutional to parade a suspect as it is deemed a violation of their fundamental human right. The suspect has no rights to the public anymore, not even the media, just as is or a lawyer or a close relative in private. But why is it different in Chidinma's case? Is it that we do not regard the Constitution anymore? What is the judiciary saying about this?
I've written about it. If you Google, I've written about a parade of suspects. That is clearly a violation of the presumption of innocence of the accused person at any point in time use of any crime, no matter how heinous, is to be innocent until the contrary is proved. But here in Nigeria, we see Nigerian police all in a bid to receive accolade and praises from Nigerian public. They want to get somebody and probably invite the Nigerian public to be the judge, and then they judge the person. That is it's not good to begin to grant interviews, to the members of the public, whereas you have not been able to provide enough evidence to take to court. So it is a practice that Lagos now has recently outlawed. The State House of Assembly of Lagos has now said that it go and unconstitutional parade any sources. So I hope other states also will enact such a law. It is clearly wrong. It is illegal. An accused person, how heinous the crime, is presumed to be innocent. What you need to do is to carry out a very thorough investigation, deploy technology in getting your facts, then charge that person to court and get the person convicted. It is after conviction that you can now begin to parade that person as a convict. Person has been convicted and sentenced to some years imprisonment. So that we're not getting it right. And as I said, we must begin to insist that we obey our laws. We must begin to insist that people's rights are not violated. We must begin to insist that every government agency must not trample on the rule of law. So parading who has not been convicted before the members of the public is a violation of the presumption of that has been guaranteed by the Constitution. Violation of right is unconstitutional. Whether in Chidiman's case or in any other case, it is clearly wrong.
Okay, thank you so much, sir, for that. Well, to my next question, there have been records of backlog of pending cases, and this has led to some people taking laws into their hands. Yes, is the judiciary doing anything about this? Hello, sir.
Hear me?
I don't know if you got that.
Delay.
Yes.
Yes, I got you. I'm saying that delay.
Yes, sir.
Do
you need me to repeat the question?
No, I'm hearing you. I'm answering it. Are you not hearing me?
Okay, I can hear you now.
What I'm saying, delay in administrative justice in Nigeria is and is leading to loss of confidence in our judicial system. Judiciary is the last hope of the common man.
Yeah.
And the moment the people do not have confidence in our system, it has some negative effect. We must insist that we must hasten our judicial process. Part of the process is our rules of procedure. We must deal with it. We must also eliminate the human factor that leads to delay. There are a lot of issues of human factor, whether non-staff or the judicial staff. Staff most time makes things very difficult for us as a nation. If you file a case now, before it is served, it takes many months. Even if it is served, and then you now need to get a date from the judges, it takes many days. Sometimes when service is even affected, to get proof of service is also an issue. The judges themselves also have many cases they handle at a time, and so their court file, the log, what they handle in a day, sometimes up to 30, 40 in a day, because of the number of time to them, because of the number of judges are few. We need to deal with it and build more courts, more judges, give them more facilities, and ensure a smooth administration of justice. Eliminate most of the human factor. If possible, deploy technology also into our judicial system. Judges should not be recording by long hands. Cases tried by long hands. We should now use technology in most of the things we do. That is what is happening in other countries. The moment we begin to do that, we may begin to eliminate all those delays in our judicial and all the confidence that will make people not to take laws into their hand, but to believe that there is justice that will be gotten. They must believe in the efficacy social sector. And doing that means that we must eliminate all those delays, because justice delayed is actually justice denied. We must try to eliminate delay in administration of justice in Nigeria. And one of those factors, as I said earlier, is the issue of basic infrastructure. The courthouses must be increased, judges must be employed, we must deploy technology, and then we must eliminate and all those delays, things that cause delay, we must get them, and then those in the system, we throw them at them, and allow judicial system to operate. The stream of justice must be very clean and pure. These are some of the things we need to do in order that our country judicial sector working, because that is what they're doing. If you go to Singapore, go to other nations, even in African countries, in Ghana, you go to Rwanda, most of those nations have gone far in terms of administration of justice. They're a bit faster in the administration of justice because they have dealt with some of the things we are comparing. We allow those things that cause delay with us. And as long as we allow them, we can never have a job people will be proud of or have confidence in. That is my take on that.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir, for that. Well, let's move to the recent church demolition in Borno, EYN. Well, some Christians have come out to say that the state government has not done anything to protect Christians in Borno, and the demolition which the government says it will investigate, is just a cover-up. More so, these people who carried out this operation are security operatives attached to Borno State's geographic information system. The building was said to have been demolished for not being sited in a proper place, and well, members said the church has been there for long before Zulum's administration in Borno. This has brought the impression that the government is anti-Christian. In addition, there was no warning or prior information about the move of this agency. This is according to reports. Well, as a legal practitioner, who is in the arm of government that settles disputes between citizens and government, what is your take on this?
I've also followed up that case, and I've heard this allegation that there was, even if there was, or even if there is any violation of the law by the church, the law usually make a provision for proper notice to be given to abate whatever nuisance you think have been caused, failing which certain thing will happen. The what I got is that same day they came was the same day they demolished, destroyed the church without any adequate notice. Now, if it is found to be true, Judiciary has a role to play here. The church must go to court and get particular action of the government of Borno State to be pronounced illegal and compensation paid, and then certain persons being punished for what they have done. I just believe that the Borno State actually investigate this case honestly and actually apportion blame where it is. It will be wrong for people to be actually discriminated upon or unfairly because of their religion. They are going to allow it. You cannot be discriminated upon because of your religious belief. You cannot be even of your ethnicity and all that. It's a constitutional issue. So if the church feels very strongly that they have been wrong, they have a right to proceed to court. But I also want to use the opportunity to actually advise every government, both at the state and federal, that we should try as much as possible to respect our laws. Laws are meant, if you have a law, and the law has made a provision as to steps you should take to do certain things, you must comply with the steps that has been provided for by the law. The moment you disobey that, then there are consequences. No, I believe that they should be able to actually come up with the result of their investigation, and then let there be a pronouncement as to who is at fault and the punishment that should be meted out to those who have actually breached their own laws. So it's an unfortunate thing, but I don't want to publicly take it that it was because they are Christians. You know, if it is, it's a dangerous dimension for us as a nation. We are trying to build a country where all of us shall be proud of. We are trying to build a united country where people shall not be disowned. Of course, you know that religion is not recognized under our constitution. You can believe whatever you want to believe, but you should not in any way impose your own belief on any other person. You must not in any way punish any person because of his own belief. That is the constitution of Nigeria, and it's operational everywhere. It's not only in the north. So I am thinking that the government and the judiciary should be able to give justice to whosoever has been wrong particular instance, you know, concerning what transpired in Borno State. It's an unfortunate incident, and we believe that other governments should not in any way actually toe such a line. That's my advice.
Oh, thank you so much, sir, for taking our time to be with us on the State of Nation today. Thank you, Barrister.
This is one of
I didn't get that, sir.
I satisfied you in giving you the answer. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you, sir. And thank you, viewers, for staying tuned. I am Dayo Olujuwon. Don't forget to follow us on all our social media handles, Facebook at Asteric News, Instagram at asteric.news. Thank you.